to my channel. Today I'm so excited. We are going to do an ultimate drugstore starter kit. So this is my makeup recommendations for those who are just starting out, whether it's, practicing with makeup, whether it is starting your makeup kit for doing makeup on other people, whatever. This is my ultimate startup kit using drugstore products. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, we have this like persona about drugstore brands that they aren't as good, they don't perform as well, when really there are a lot of specific products within each drugstore brand that work really well, if not better than the higher end things. And I just kind of want everyone to understand that you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to have really nice makeup, really nice products that perform the way that you want. Just because something has a higher price tag on it does not mean it is good. Now, when I say drugstore, I mean products that you can purchase at Target, at Walmart, at ULTA in the drugstore area. Then you got your CVS, your Walgreens, your Rite Aid. These are the products that you can purchase in any of those stores. Moving on to products such as primer. Now, a couple of my go-to primers when I'm using drugstore brand products is, one is the CoverGirl True Blend Base Business Primer. Now this primer comes in many different variations. This is the mattifying one. I know there's a pore one, there's a smoothing one, there's a illuminating one, I believe. There's a whole bunch of these. Now what primer is a little protective coating that you put on your face to help all your makeup stick and stay in place. This is a nice little primer. And another one that is really cool, I really like this one, is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. Now, I will use a mattifying primer in my T-zone because I'm oily in this area, and then I will put this primer over the rest of my face. Another one that I really like, but it is more high-end, is the Tarte Smoothing Primer. This is kind of like almost on the lines of a dupe for that one. I really think both of these products perform quite similar to one another, but this is a fraction of the cost. So, e.l.f. Putty Primer. Moving on to foundation. Now, foundation is one that so many people have a problem with because it's so hard to find your right shade. So what I recommend is first figure out what your skin type is, especially even with primers, because there are different primers for different skin types. So figure out what your skin type is, and then move on from there. You want to figure out what your undertone is. And I do have a couple videos and I will link them down below of how to figure out your skin type and how to figure out what your undertone is. That will help you choose not only a primer but a foundation to use that will work well with your skin, because you want a foundation to help with your skin type, your undertone, and help with any other problematic areas that you have. Like I do have combination skin. I have a more neutral undertone, so I can do the warm or the cool. I also have like rosacea, so I do have some problematic areas to my skin. So I always go towards like the medium to full coverage type of foundations. I do have a few different foundations that I want to show you that I really like. So first up in our foundations is this one. This is the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made Foundation, and I use the shade M20. Now, M20 is a very hard shade to find. So if this is your shade, I do know that Walmart carries it more times than none. So M20 is the shade that I use. I love this foundation. It is a nice light feeling foundation. If you are more on the oily side, this is a good foundation for you. I really like the wear on this. I have worn this all day into nighttime, and my makeup has stayed on and looked flawless. Now, I do believe it does stay on here 12 hours. So it does say this is a 12-hour foundation, and I think I would agree with that. It is up to almost 12 hours of good solid wear. The next foundation that I want to talk to you about is one that I find myself grabbing more times than none in the morning. This is one that I probably wear on most days. And this is the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Liquid Foundation. Now, this foundation, you know, you don't really hear too much about this one, and I don't know why, because I really think a lot of people would absolutely love it. One thing I really like about this foundation is how lightweight it feels on your skin. You do not feel like you have any makeup on your skin when wearing this foundation, and I do really like that. This foundation pretty much lasts all day long. Again, next thing we're going to talk about is concealer. Now, there are a few other concealers, drugstore brand type of concealers that I really like, but these are my favorite. And the first one is this one right here. This is the LA Girl Pro Conceal concealer. This comes in a million shades, and there are some color correcting ones now if you have some problematic areas with your skin, but this is a great little concealer. And I have noticed since I've gotten older, I can't put concealer right underneath my eyes because it will crease no matter what I do. So I put the concealer down a little bit further down and I blend up, and I've noticed that this concealer isn't too thick and heavy on the skin, which I like. Next one I want to tell you guys about is this one. This is the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. This stuff is almost 100% a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape. I love this stuff, and it is a fraction of the price of the Tarte Shape Tape. Now, I think with consistency and blendability and everything, it is almost identical, and again, it is a fraction of the price. Now, what I do want to add with this is there are multiple shades of this concealer, and a lot of people use the darker shades of this concealer for cream contour. So if you're one of those people that want to use cream contour, get a darker shade of this stuff. It is amazing. I just love how it blends out. I don't see a whole lot of creasing throughout the day. What we're going to talk about next is powders, and I have a pressed powder and a loose powder to show you guys, and these are my ultimate all-time favorite drugstore powders. The first one I want to talk about is this right here. This is the Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder. I use this to set my concealer underneath my eyes. So I take a nice little flat brush, I dip into this, and I press that in. I feel that my concealer, if I use a pressed powder to do this with underneath my eyes, that my concealer doesn't crease as much. So I do like using this for that type of thing, for the under eye concealer. Now, to set the rest of my face, I use this, and I don't know too many people that talk about this. This is the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder. This stuff is like magic in a little tiny container. This is amazing. I take a little bit of it because a little goes a long way. With a big fluffy brush, I set the rest of my face. My makeup is good. I absolutely love this loose powder, and I highly recommend it. You find this usually more towards, like, if you're in CVS or like Walgreens or something, it's more towards like where the nails are, which makes no sense, but that is usually where you will find this loose powder. So Coty Airspun loose powder. Moving on to bronzers. Now, I have a couple bronzers that I want to talk to you guys about. One is super duper popular and everyone knows about it. Everyone loves it. It is by far one of the best drugstore bronzers in the whole world, and that is this one right here. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It not only smells like beach heaven, it goes on smooth, it's not blotchy, it's very blendable, and it lasts all day long. Now, another one that I want to talk to you guys about is this one right here. This is the L'Oreal Bronze Please, and I just recently came across this, and I love, love, love it. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. First of all, I love how big and giant that pan is. And second, I just think that out of any drugstore bronzer that I've tried other than the butter bronzer, sometimes, and I don't know quite if I'm going to explain this correctly, like it sticks. And like I can see like areas that are kind of like I just took the brush and went like that right on my face, so a big round area was there. So that's kind of what I'm noticing. And then when I go to blend it out, it's like all chalky and weird and spotchy, and all that stuff. So this does not do any of that. This kind of goes on just like that butter bronzer. I really like how smooth and even I can get my bronzer to look when using this product. Now this comes in 3 shades. There's a light, medium, dark. This is the medium shade. And I think that for my skin tone, it works really, really well. Moving on to blushes, and I do have 3 blushes to show you guys. The first one I know people have talked about, and I have talked about it in other videos. It is the Milani Little Rose blushes. These blushes are beautiful. I love how they go on. I love the shade range. Everything about them is great. They last all day. They're just absolutely gorgeous. They are in the shape of a little rose, which I think is fun and cute. So the rose blushes by Milani are absolutely phenomenal. And I know I've heard other YouTubers talk about these, and they are absolutely amazing. So now, one of the things that I have not heard too many people talk about is this right here. This is the Burt's Bees blush. I didn't even know Burt's Bees made blush. I just came upon this a few months ago when my sister and niece were picking out my makeup. And this is the shade Shy Pink, and it is just a gorgeous, beautiful shade. I actually have it on today. I find myself reaching for this all the time. I just love the way it looks. I mean, it's very, very highly pigmented, so a little bit goes a long way, and it lasts all day. I don't see any changes in my makeup when I've been wearing these products, and these drugstore products, I'm telling you guys, they work. You don't have to use, or you don't have to spend a lot of money to have beautiful quality makeup. So the next one I want to talk about, and this one is equally as gorgeous, and I'm so excited about it because I don't use a whole lot of L'Oreal products, but I've come across a few products lately that I absolutely love, because usually I would just use their light brow products and their mascara, because I really do love L'Oreal Lash Paradise. But you know, I got the bronzer now, and then there's this. This is the L'Oreal Blush Please. So L'Oreal Blush Please, and it is all part of like the same little marketing thing. The Bronze Please, the Blush Please, and I believe there's a few other products. But the Blush Please, there's 2 different blushes. They're both beautiful. One is a little more pinkish, one is a little more on the neutral, kind of almost has that corally feel to it, but is like a more of a neutral brownish shade, and the other one is more of a pinkish shade. They're both absolutely beautiful. I have used them both. They stay on the skin, they last all day, and I love how wonderfully pigmented they are. So good job, L'Oreal. I absolutely worship that blush. Now, moving on to highlight. There are a couple new highlights that I just found, and these are blush highlight duos. So this is called the Hello Halo Blush Lighter, and it's like a dual blush highlight, and it's by Wet n Wild. And I have to tell you guys, Wet n Wild is a hidden gem. It is the beauty industry's dirty little secret. Wet n Wild is high quality makeup at a thrift store price. Now, a foundation that I also forgot to mention that I absolutely love, I just don't have it because I've used it up, so that's probably why I haven't mentioned it. But the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation is amazing. I highly recommend that one too, and I believe it's only $6. So the Photo Focus Foundation, I do want to kind of slip that in there and add that to the foundation list because it is amazing. And Wet n Wild highlighters are like next level wonderful. And I got 2 of these. So again, this is a blush and a highlighter duo. And let me just kind of, I'm going to swatch this, the highlighter part of this, and kind of like show you guys what it looks like. So if you can like see that, isn't that gorgeous? Like, it's just so bright and beautiful. I absolutely love this. Now that is a lighter shade. What is this one called? Highlight Bling is what this one's called. And then I picked up the After Sex Glow. What a name. So I'm gonna swatch that highlight and show you. This one's a little more goldish, or has a little more of a gold undertone versus the other one that is a little more bright, but both are absolutely gorgeous. Cannot emphasize enough how much I love Wet n Wild highlighters. I just think they are amazing. And moving on to brow products. Now, I am a I like the brow pencils with the tiny, slim, precise tips. My favorite brow product is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, which I think a lot of people love. But if you don't want to spend over 20 bucks on a brow pencil, I highly recommend you go into the drugstore and grab these brow products. So what I have to show you here is now this is the Brow Stylist Defender by L'Oreal. Again, it's a tiny little tip pencil, just like the Brow Wiz. It's the CoverGirl one. Now the CoverGirl, this is the ultra fine tip in honey brown, and this one is in light brunette. So they're pretty similar actually when I put them on. One's a tad bit darker than the other, but no big deal. And then I also like this one, and I have it in the boxes. I just restocked it. This is the NYX micro brow pencil, and I love this one as well. But again, I can't fail with tiny tip pencils, and you don't have to spend over $20 to get a brow pencil that performs just like the Anastasia Brow Wiz. Moving on to eyeshadows. Now I have this giant hang up about eyeshadow palettes in drugstores, and I'm talking like CoverGirl, L'Oreal, Maybelline, all of them. I haven't found one that I really love quite yet, but I will say Rimmel has these things which are amazing, and a couple of these are dupes for the Naked palettes. So this one right here is the Magnifies Spice Edition. This get a bunch of little eyeshadows here, and they have multiple like shade ranges. There's quite a few to choose from. They're all beautiful. These eyeshadows, out of anything I've performed in out of the drugstore. Now I'm not talking about ColourPop or BH Cosmetics or NYX or Morphe. Those are a little bit higher end drugstore products. I'm talking drugstore products, and this is one of the best drugstore eyeshadows I have found. Moving on to liner. Now I am a liquid eyeliner girl, and I have found two great little products by the same brand, and that brand is e.l.f. So e.l.f. makes this great little pencil. So when I say pencil, it's kind of like an ink pen, but it's one of those like little fine tip ink pens. Now this goes on beautifully, glides on beautifully. If you like the pencils versus more of like this type of liquid eyeliner, this is a really good one. And I believe it was like not even, or maybe a little more than $5. But it is great, and I don't notice the bleeding in the corners of my eyes like I notice with a lot of other products. Another one by e.l.f. is this liquid wonder right here. This is a tiny fine tip brush. So this is just a liquid eyeliner with a brush tip. It's not the felt tip like the pens are. So it is a little bit different. You do kind of have to use a nice steady hand when putting this on, because you can mess it up pretty quickly. But if you are someone that is pretty good with that, or really likes this type of liquid liner, I highly recommend it. Moving on to mascara, and there is quite a few mascaras that I like that are drugstore, one being the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, and I don't have that on me right now to show you what that looks like because I've used it all. So I thought I still had like the container, but I must have gotten rid of that already. But the next one I want to show you that's just as good, and I think is a dupe for my favorite mascara, which is the Lancome Monsieur Big, is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist. Now I think that this is just as good as my Monsieur Big, which I worship, the Monsieur Big mascara. Now this comes very close. I would definitely say this is a dupe for this other higher end mascara. Moving on, we have a couple more things to talk about. Lashes. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on lashes, but I do recommend the Ardell lashes and the Eyeliner lashes. You can get these both at the drugstores. I use the 110s for the Ardell 110s because I like just they're more natural light lash, and I think that they look beautiful on the eye if you are not someone that wants to be super bold with lashes. And then I use in Eyelure, I use the number 117s. These are a little bit thicker, they're a little bit more wispy, and I do like the way both of these look on my eyes when I and you can create different, you know, eye looks and whatnot with them. Moving on to lips, I came across these lip products oh gosh, a little while ago when they first came out. I don't even remember when they first came out, but these are the Maybelline Color Sensational lip pencils and lipsticks. Now my most favorite lipstick by Maybelline is this one right here. This is the Baddest Beige. This is a beautiful beige shade. I can't say enough of good things about this shade. Everything is wonderful, and this is my go-to. I wear this pretty much every single day. So moving on to setting sprays. I highly recommend this setting spray. This is by L'Oreal, and it's their Shake and Glow Lumi Mist. And you just shake it up because it does have a little bit of that illumination to it, and you spray, spray, spray over the face. It smells wonderful, and it gives your skin just that slight little dewiness to it. So again, it doesn't make it look wet, but it makes it look slightly dewy, which I do like. I don't really want a totally matte face. I do want a little bit of sheen to my skin. So I do highly recommend this. It does keep your makeup on all day long. So another setting spray that I really, really love, and you can find this one at the Morphe store, or you can find it in Ulta on the drugstore side. It is Morphe setting spray. So this is kind of like just kind of like a aerosol can type of thing, and this is a wonderful setting spray. Now I use this a lot to set my face in between putting other products on. So like I will put on my foundation, spray my face, I'll put on my bronzer, spray my face. You know, this is a great little setting spray to build up and help everything stay in place all day long. And this is not super expensive. I do believe it's $16. I forget what this one was. I want to say, I think it's a little over $10. But these guys are wonderful. They are some great drugstore setting sprays. There you have it for our ultimate drugstore starter kit. And again, this is for those of you that are just beginning in makeup or just beginning to get products ready for your like makeup bag if you are putting makeup on other people. These are some great products to start with and great brands to start with, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Remember to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, as well as the notification bell next to it to be notified of all of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!